Okay, going in cold. I think I'm live on YouTube. X, I don't think it's just trouble with spaces. By the way, guys, I think X as a whole is like almost down. On desktop, I can't load into spaces. I can't load into videos. By the way, tell me if you actually see me on YouTube. I'm not sure if I'm live there yet. But okay, over on X, can't get into spaces, unavailable, right? Just like you guys. Can't get in other spaces too now, and even videos. I'm trying to stream now to X, and it's telling me that feed's not working. I think X as a whole is getting just blown up. Let's see. It's trying. Okay, cool. All right, thank you, guys. All right, live on YouTube. That's half the battle. I mostly only care about YouTube, to be honest. But I'd like to put something on the screen here. Let me see if I can get any audio. Yeah, dude, there's another space, a video feed, Ashton Forbes I'm trying to listen to. That one's dead, too. I think all the feeds got killed. Dude, this is going to be the biggest spaces of all time. Easily, yeah. Ashton Forbes stream is completely down now. Ashton Forbes, you guys know the Flight MH370 conspiracy theory dude who you know I'm obsessed with now, man. Obsessed. Twitter's full on Twitter's broken. Hang on. Down detector. X has got to be down, right? Is X down for you guys? Yeah, look. Look at that. Oh, dude, I bet you it's not going to happen. I bet you it's not going to happen at all. I'm going to keep trying to go live here. But yeah, they broke Twitter. Eagle, I don't know how you're in. It's for everybody else. It says unavailable. Like that. I think that even link is dead. What can I put on in the meantime? Oh, you know what? We'll do just audio here. I'm listening to. Actually, let's do this. Ashton Forbes live on YouTube. We'll skip the Twitter feed for now. I will not be shocked if they take down. I won't be shocked if they blow up YouTube as well. Like this is a big one. By the way, we get political here when we need to. I got some Polymarket bets on Trump saying Bitcoin here, right? There also is a bet about him saying crypto. I'm not betting on that. I'm betting on Bitcoin. Ashton Forbes. I'm watching him. He's also trying to stream this show. The Trump.
Grant the potential to travel to the past. But that,
that answers that we'll watch him for now. He's awesome. Love this guy.
Because you cannot violate causality. Because then you have
and I'll mute here and there so we can chat.
Have killed your grandfather or whatever before you were born.
Really? Okay, interesting.
We know that's not possible because
Henry might join us, by the way, guys. Like maybe he'll pop in.
Okay, so what's going on with this space here?
Yeah, this is not going to work.
Everybody's saying it's not working for them.
It's not going to work at all.
Twitter's doesn't work.
Twitter's gone.
Say it's not working.
Twitter's gone.
Keemstar says it's not working. So we're just sitting here waiting for this thing to go down, guys. Feels bad.
Okay, I'm in it now.
Should we?
Nope, never mind. Never mind.
I want to ask the question about.
So we'll listen to Ashton. We'll peek at Polymarket. We'll shoot the shit for a bit. Again, we don't go super deep into politics every day. Certain days we absolutely do. I'm doing this like we did on the presidential debate, right? The Biden-Trump. So similar to that, I'm also going to be streaming Kamala Harris's the roundtable. So the crypto for Kamala. She's not going to be there, by the way, but I'll be streaming that on Wednesday. That's at, I believe it's 6 or 7 p.m.
I need everybody to,
or excuse me, 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Or whatever you do. Okay.
Okay. Now, Edge, did you end up getting a bet in here?
So if it is possible to travel to the past,
I have a bet on Bitcoin. Wow, I got.
I've had several smart people tell me that.
Yikes! I bought way too high. I bought at 65 cents, I believe.
If you're not familiar with the show Dark,
down to 56 now.
Deterministic, which means if you travel to.
I saw my guy Tyler saying he bet no on crypto, which is interesting. I like the take. It's a topic these guys steer away from. If you're going to talk about those topics, I get not doing it in public, right? I get not doing it at traditional rallies. Although he has been mentioning Bitcoin and crypto more lately, but you definitely want to do it here. Right? You definitely want to do it with this audience.
So if that time travel is possible,
also, if this is super distracting, tell me and I can lower it.
And I'm not a big fan of thinking that there is no free will. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you only stick your hand, there's no issue. I mean,
censorship. I'm just looking to see what's got some maybe still
one half of your hand.
spicy odds. I'm down. I put in like $300 or 250. I think 250, maybe 240 even. But I'm down. This dropped from 65-ish%.
It's kind of bizarre, but
actually, I think I bought it. I think it actually sold to me because there's a lot of bots and a lot of volume here now. I think I got it close to 69 cents even, which not good. Henry's DMing me. I can't get spaces to work.
Okay. Check out Demystified.
It is basically down, man. Jeez.
Sorry, I'm checking out what people say here.
If X is down, right?
Yeah, and quantum entanglement is functionally the same as a wormhole.
If it's down, we'll hang here for a bit. We'll see what happens with the stream. We can shoot the shit on crypto and NFTs. If it's down, we'll play it by ear, right? If we got to shut down the stream, come back to it, we'll do what we have to do. But we're hanging for a bit for now.
Which is zero point energy is what allows for, creates what we know as gravity. It's an induced effect on 0 point energy densities. Why is that the case? Because mass and energy are the same thing. So if
Edge, what'd you bet on? Oh, your spaces are working. All right, let's peek. There's just a heads up. There's definitely a difference between mobile and desktop, right? One or the other could work. I think they are mostly running off different servers, so keep that in mind. Weird, yeah. So I'm going into that spaces, and it loads up like there's people in there, and then after like a few seconds, it goes to issue with spaces, whatever it was. I'm trying on phone and trying here on desktop, obviously, but ain't looking good. I mean, how do you plan for this? How do you plan for a thing where there's, potentially, I don't know, how many millions? How many millions do you guys think, are tuning into this?
I investigated the plane for, it's been a year now, but
this is wild.
Down back on March of 10-year
okay. It shows on my phone. It makes it look like it's live. I go to start listening, and space is not available. Okay.
On some of my old posts. It's crazy to look at my old posts compared to the new stuff. Like when it comes to the science, like I was pretty close. Like really, really, really close. Which is kind of incredible because I knew nothing. I didn't know anything about electrical engineering, and I knew.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, Matt.
Not a lot of physics. I used to think that wormholes weren't even possible. I thought wormhole was like a science.
Edge, share your bets if you're comfortable with it. I went all in on Bitcoin.
Like it's pretty wild.
All in here.
Tesla YouTube channel is streaming it. Okay, I'll go check that out right now. Tesla YouTube.
Oh.
We need anything that can watch. Although I'm probably.
Okay, it is live. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. Tesla YouTube.
This not only aligns with our commitment
nope,
to sustainability.
That's a scam. Guys, I think I told you guys about that one, right? I got by that scam. They're going to get people. I bet you related to that scam. I don't think there is a Tesla YouTube channel. Could be wrong, but that's a scam. You go and scan it. It's going to try to get you to send crypto somewhere. Yeah, total scam. I mean, actually, hang on. It had a countdown to the live interview, right?
About what those receiving countries.
Dude, is everybody in the world watching this right now? And this will get zapped too.
And within about 5
yeah, live interview starts. Yeah, this will get zapped, guys. Do not scan that. Yeah, I shouldn't even put it on the screen because of that. Let's hear if Ashton falls for it. Oh, there we go. Not real.
I think some of you guys have been. You've been got by some
viewers are discussing Elon Musk's. Let me lower the volume. Viewers are discussing. Oh, god damn it! Anyone who doesn't know Ashton Forbes, yeah, I'm telling you, dude. People are slick. Ashton Forbes, probably the loudest voice in the flight MH370 missing plane video. This is that flight out of Malaysia a decade ago. It's fascinating, guys. obviously, I like conspiracies. I love them. I love them. But the theory is this video apparently is real. Like, nobody has been able to disprove this video. Theory is we've got some interesting tech that allows us to teleport shit. I know. It sounds wild. It sounds absolutely wild. Those things look a lot like those the UAP that we see all the time, right? It looks like the little Tic-Tac UFOs. These three things, they open up literally a wormhole. Again, sounds nuts. But I'm super interested. So I watch that guy. He streams almost daily at this point, so I watch him. I'm interested. Something seems worth following. A lot, you know. I don't believe anything that comes from these people at all. So I'm paying attention. All right, give me a heads up too. By the way, guys, if you notice it's live and working, which is it now? Nope. Nope, still not. Andrew, what's up? Good to see you, man. Check this. This is wild. Poof. It's cool. I hope it's true. Yeah, I hope. But let's hang out in here.
The Elon Musk space is going to be Elon Musk, Donald Trump. So we were trying to watch it, but it looks like we broke the internet. So,
dude, straight up, it's broken. It's straight up broken.
You have to be very careful with Elon Musk related stuff.
Oh man, Matt, back at you, man.
Followers, so he has a lot of people scamming his identity, like a lot. Yeah, Hodge twins are quite upset. Somebody got in. Somebody's definitely in.
That's a great point here. Do you think they know? It'd be funny if they're just rocking this thing and don't even realize.
Totally broken, huh? So can we? 222,000 people are in there, and everybody else has crashed. Is how it works.
Oh, hey guys, that's interesting. Are some people actually in listening?
Shit,
dude, hadn't even thought of that. If some people are actually listening, let me try some other spaces here.
This is bullshit.
Right, some other people are rebroadcasting too. Let's see.
How do we do this?
Other guys got to be streaming on YouTube. If you guys find a good stream out there, let me know.
To get in so that we can watch.
All right, let's see if anybody's
so people are posting.
Interest rates are down.
Coin or a whole 10 Bitcoins,
oh, scam.
You will receive back a doubled amount.
It's crazy. It's I never knew there were that many scams here.
Tesla, Cybertruck.
Holy cow, dude. It's all of them.
The shoulder seems
I like Vosh.
Like that. I'm leaning forward.
I like Vosh a lot.
Right?
Providing a convenient
scam.
He'll probably forget who I am.
All I see, the tweet.
Let's see.
Your balance doubles.
Scam. Dude, so many scams. Holy cow.
All right, welcome back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody's actually in. Dude, everywhere. All of those were scams. There was like 2 of them that were not. That's freaking wild. And people fall for that. That's crazy. Oh, I think they got maybe a new link up. Damn. This is... what do you guys think? They'll have to scrap this one? You think they got to reschedule? Bad look. Bad look that Musk can't... His system can't handle this. They had trouble with the DeSantis interview, too. Let's see if Mario is streaming. Nope, Mario not streaming. Oh, let's check that out. All right, Elon tweeted. I'm more excited to hear Kamala's take on all this stuff. All right, what's he saying? Oh, damn. Shocking, huh? Although, I don't know if I believe him. I don't know that his... I mean, Spaces barely works if you get, a couple hundred people in. Massive DDoS attack. All right. Oh, that would suck. Worst case, proceed with a smaller number of live listeners. So they'll cap it. That's fine, honestly, because so many people are doing what I'm doing and just going to rebroadcast it. In fact, he should encourage that. Hopefully they got a good crypto conversation in here and lean into decentralization. That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect. I hope that's the way it goes. It's, dude, crazy that that's actually effective. It actually works. Like, wild. Wild, wild, wild. All right, Mr. Musk. Yeah, smaller's cool. I mean, smaller space, let people rebroadcast. Dude, cap it at 50K. Tell people to go crazy, just, streaming it. That'd be awesome. Go tell freaking Aiden Ross, go stream it. Everybody, like, that would be cool. That would work. All right, let's get back to Ashton.
Yeah, once that gets fixed, we'll jump in. Elon Musk apparently says they're getting DDoSed, so we'll see.
Do you guys believe him, or you think the platform just
Oh, okay, wow.
ain't
That'd be
good?
crazy if we don't get in. Oh well. Says there appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X. We're working on shutting it down. Worst case, we'll proceed with a smaller number and post the combo later. Yikes.
Yeah, I hope we find out
Yeah,
soon. That's all I
this-
care about.
This literally broke the internet. This Elon Musk thing. They're so upset. Why are people so mad at Elon Musk? It's crazy. What has this guy done to deserve the hatred? Literally sends rockets, reusable rockets into outer space.
Oh, so do you guys think
Car company,
the people
and
in
Musk
there
is
are
being
in?
invaded
That
out
could
of
be. The
the
people in might be in.
wrestle it away from
Interesting.
the
Okay,
United
just like
government's censorship, fascist censorship apparatus. He's done nothing to make anybody hate him.
All right.
The best part was,
yeah, I wonder if the guy's in,
shit about Elon
like
Musk,
Matt.
and all the liberals in the whole
Wonder if
world
you guys
loved
are
Elon
like
Musk. And then the moment
all
they
set.
saw
So you should
Twitter,
stream.
all of them were convinced to hate
You
Elon
stream, I'll tune in.
like just like new processing, new scripts being inserted, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah, it's fair. Ninu.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, it's mostly
MSM tells people to hate
it's
him.
mostly right on.
So,
Most everything here in
like literally, if you read Reddit, like,
crypto
these
is
people are
scams. I mean,
so
honestly.
brainwashed. They think he's like the Antichrist, and these are all people that loved him and thought he was like their savior just a few years ago. It's
I do hope
crazy
Mario
how
streams. I like the
propaganda
guy
and brainwashed
a lot.
it is. Really is. Nobody has any original opinions on Elon Musk. It's just literally manufactured, 100% manufactured outrage. They've blocked your
Okay.
next live stream tonight? No, I doubt that.
This was cool. This was earlier today, but Vivek predicts that Kamala will embrace Bitcoin and crypto industry to attract more voters. Yep. She has to.
Yeah, my live
Especially
stream
those who are
down
crypto
next
friendly.
week.
Well, obviously. Recent survey by Paradigm found that, this is what we looked at earlier today.
Yeah, so basically,
Found
it's
that
not just
13% of registered
all
Democrat
accident.
voters are not voting for Harris,
Wild.
with 18% of the non-Harris voters indicating that the Biden administration has been too hostile towards crypto. That's a huge number. That's a huge number.
Now, what is tech Elon, and how does that relate to UFOs or UAPs?
All right, I'm kind of not in the mood for that right now. Okay. 43% of Democrats believe it's very important or extremely important for the U.S. to lead in high-tech software innovations such as crypto and fintech. Dude, that's super... I'm glad to hear that, to be honest. All right, let's see if any of this works yet. I'm sure it doesn't, but... Matt, from Kamala. Exactly. Oh, man, nothing shocks me anymore. Come on, please work. Damn it. I'm just like refreshing into that same space. I just keep hitting it, hoping people leave. How many of you guys are still in it? Like, you're not getting an error. Farouk, interesting. Well, let's see. On Rug Radio, you think? Yeah, let's see. Yeah. But I think there's Tyler.
We like a 4-to-1, you know?
I mean, they're exactly where
let's
we
let-
are.
All right, we got 77 people live. Let the people know if y'all want. We are broadcasting this live, so it's not playing yet. Let me put the music playing in the background. Is the Twitter Spaces waiting song? Just
By the way,
for
most
people
people
to
haven't seen this
know.
because we
Here.
did it over on
Here.
Crypto Slam, but I had a great interview with Tyler.
Welcome.
God, almost a year ago, guys, but over on the Crypto Slam channel.
To
Awesome
FOMO
dude. It was
Hour
with Tyler.
episode.
Who was it? The CTO of Wax,
We're on the Twitter Spaces right
Tyler.
now.
I think like president of Sorare, and God, there was one other. Who was it?
I got it.
Somebody from Mythical.
Loki had my notes.
There's one other person there. No, maybe that was it. Maybe it was those three.
Computer, nothing.
Andy, what's up, brother?
You know, I guess it helps having two phones. Just,
Great seeing you, man.
you know, I just,
But yeah, check that out. You should, peek at the Crypto Slam channel. We got some cool ass interviews over there.
I wish the boys were up to text. tweet
Art
me
Blocks,
that we're live.
FX Hash,
They are not.
co-founder of Autograph, right? Tom Brady and
Like,
this
so,
guy.
see?
We had some
I've already had
cool
some
ass
good
interviews
feedback.
over there.
Kudos to Twitter Spaces
Gotta kick that in gear
something to
again.
slap. Let me try to broadcast on phone.
Nino, do you mean immediately after here, or just kind of short-term, medium-term, long-term, just general
Never know, it may work,
macro
dude.
crypto?
Oh, hold on. So Twitter's under DDoS attack per Elon. Nope.
My
Okay,
gut
so
is,
it's
Ninu,
still gonna
short
work.
term,
We can only
treading
do it on
water,
YouTube for now.
super flat, if not
Broadcast.
down. Like it's usually incredibly slow this time of the year.
Look, they said they
Oh,
tested
after the
today.
interview, I don't think it's going to move the needle at all. Everybody knows Trump's take, his stance on crypto. If anything, it's kind of a sell the news event. I don't think anything happens. Nino, what I'm watching for is, does he announce his token? Right? The Trumps are launching a token.
Just so you know, the music in the back,
Let me
like,
pull
we-
that down a little more.
we're
Don
not trying to
Jr.
talk
and
up here,
Eric.
talk. Just the space hasn't started.
Right? If you're not aware, they've got a token coming out, and we don't know when. But what I'm wondering is it a Donald Trump token too? Is he going to embrace it? And if so, does he actually announce it here? Because X is where crypto Twitter lives. So do they actually announce it here? And does he talk about this token? So that's my only takeaway I'm really trying to get here. I don't think this impacts Bitcoin or ETH or so. None of those. There might be some cool meme coins that pop up live during this event over on pump.fun. So I definitely want to keep an eye over there, see if we get a fresh new meme coin. I got some Sol loaded up in a wallet. I'll go buy a meme coin if something seems really hot and it's popping off. But yeah, I don't think any impact to crypto really here.
Look at that while we're waiting.
Like very little, especially because Trump's not even leading.
It is absolute madness.
What do you guys think? What could Trump say that gets people even more excited for him? Right? He already wants to have. He wants to focus on mining here. Hang on, are they talking? Nope. They want to hold Bitcoin as in the strategic reserve. I don't know what else he could say. Anything more bullish than he's already dropped.
Maybe we won't need to
I'm
broadcast this.
I'm more interested in the Kamala stance. That's the one I think we learned from. That could really send crypto. If she comes out pro crypto, that could send it. Because right now you got the market just it's like this tug of war. Somebody who people perceive as anti-crypto and Kamala. Trump pro crypto. Trump Trump getting his ass kicked right now. So that could impact the market, is Kamala coming out with a very, very strong pro-crypto stance. We'll see. Meme coins. Meme coins is the takeaway today.
Yeah, and because we're posting YouTube links, we're getting like our engagement throttled on those posts, Tyler.
Damn. Man, I'm trying to get in here, all kinds of links, nothing working. Bullish on September. Interesting, Matt. I hope, dude. I hope we get maybe some emergency cuts here in the States, maybe this week, right? CPI numbers come in this week, expected to be higher. Do we get an emergency cut? Otherwise, we wait till September for cuts.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just expecting a slow
I can't broadcast
all
live to,
the way up till October. That's my gut. Historically, that's what happens.
That's crazy. I can't broadcast.
Right, we went over this morning too, but
Dude, this music,
Here, we'll just
man,
peek at last year.
what
So
do
we're in
you-
this part. We're in this phase here.
Okay, he said we will proceed with a small
August through basically end of October, just kind of dead. In October, it turns into October. It does. 2022 also dead during this time. Also dead. So, oh, no shit, Edge. All right, let's try.
This is not a clickbait. I promise you it's not a clickbait. We're actually gonna. I mean, you can hear the fucking thing.
Edge, what's it doing on your side? Here, let's check out Mario, too. All right, he's where we're at. Oh, this is further than I've gotten before. That's for sure. Okay.
Yeah, we'll stay in there.
All right, I'm going to mute YouTube. Okay, this is further than I've gotten before. I like to picture that Trump is sitting at his computer and he's got the audio playing. I hope he's actually holding a speaker up right to his microphone. That's what I picture. What's up, Eric? All right, cool stuff. All right, maybe they got stuff working. If this goes live, I'm going to see if we get Henry to drop in here. Hell, even Joe. I don't know if you guys caught, but Joe hopped in the afternoon show at the very end. All right, let's see who we know in here. I won't show all the names, huh? It's the biggest interview in history. It is. Wow, it really is. Think about it, guys. Elon Musk interviewing Donald Trump. Wow. All right, so imagine he launches his token, and let's call it let's call it Defiant. That's possibly the name, by the way, Defiant. So launches Defiant, announces it here. Please be on Solana, please. Okay, I think they said they're going to do it a smaller audience. Musk tweeted like 4 minutes ago. If my screen is nice and refreshed. Let's check. I don't know if you guys saw that too. Okay, yeah, there it is. We will proceed with a smaller number of concurrent listeners at 8:30. Okay, well it's now, so hopefully we get to hear it. We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. Wow. 8 million, Jesus. Oh, cool. Matt, you dropped that earlier. Okay. I caught half of that when you mentioned in the chat. Wild. So maybe they really did get an attack. 8:30. It's any moment now. This should actually start. And then they'll repost it. Okay. Dude, this is fun, man. I like the events. I like when we do live mints here, right? We did the Aeons Mint live. We did the Entangled Mint live. I like that a lot. Just expect us. Oh, God. Picture in the bull market, the NFT bull market. We'll do a lot of that. New mints popping off. We'll mint them live together, which is great. I'll tell you this. When I started in NFTs, I always had this idea of like a 24-hour help desk. Honestly, it's a cool way to do like a version of that. I mean, if we do it live, people ask questions live. You can help people live. Everybody helps each other. It'd be cool. So yeah, that would work. Okay, while we're waiting, let's peek at Polymarket a little more. What'll Trump say? MAGA? Dude, something tells me he's not going to say MAGA. Something tells me we're not going to get a MAGA today. Crypto won't be shocked if he doesn't say crypto. Censorship, yes. Gotta say censorship. Trans, no. Mars, that's an interesting bet. If I had a lot more to play with, I'd probably bet on Mars. I would like to hear Elon Musk shoehorn that in. Nice. Matt, what are you collecting over there? Yeah, Cosmos, good idea. Reveals too would be cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. Tampon, nah. I don't see it. Mars way ahead of Tampon. Ooh, are we going? Oh, I think we're rocking. Yeah, I hear some movement. Do you? Yeah, I think it's happening. You heard a little moving around and then he muted, so I think it's happening. Got to get Musk back in there. I like to picture Donald's like me getting on a space and nervous, and he's waiting for Elon. Matt, what historical NFTs? Hoping like Mad Lads and I think the like OG collections, SMB, right? Something like that. Would love an SMB, by the way. If I were running the music for the boys. All right, just peeking at some shitters here in the meantime. All right, cool. Cosmos, you're in. I'm in. Hey, it may be happening. Just got to get Elon in. He's got to, plug his shit back in. I'm like tempted to refresh, but probably not smart to chance that. Wow, really? 800K. Decentralized, I think I saw $9 million market cap a couple hours ago. Yeah. Still in that ballpark. Damn, Cosmos. Oh, that's wild. Now that shows Elon in, doesn't it? Let me know, too, if you guys end up hearing it and we don't hear it here, give me a heads up. 900K. Damn. I wonder if that's the smaller number. Cap it at $1 million. Have we ever seen it at $1 million? I don't think we have, man. It's a hell of a number. Hey, let's see if we break that. So I keep watching the account for, signs of a meme coin name. Trump Force 47. I don't think that's it. But man, like I'm watching like Eric's account and Junior's account. That's where I think it comes from. If Trump doesn't announce it tonight, I don't think he will. That should have been a bet. That would have been a cool bet here. All right, how we looking? They're late. At this point, they're late. Oh, tell me this didn't crash again. Dude, I feel like I'm not in it. Yeah, dude, my Twitter's all locked up. Yeah, I think I got the boot. You guys in still? Man, I cannot tell if I'm in. Okay, all right. Yeah, as long as we didn't get disconnected, cool. It killed that pop-up. That's why I was a little worried. Still nothing? Yeah, nothing. All right. Hey, what can you do? We'll wait. We'll wait it out. Yeah, yeah. Dude, it's so dumb. Trump's been retweeting that, like buying into it. You know what? That discredits everything the dude thinks about, like interference. It does. It discredits because it shows he doesn't look into stuff. Like the fact that he thinks that those photos are AI, man. It's not. It's crazy. Okay, Mario's live or not live? All right, hang on. Mario. Oh, he's also just chilling here, right? I kind of expect with him that there's at least some audio going, but nah. Nothing here. No, hang on. Oh.
I love it. I love the space.
All right, they're checking Pumped Out Fun.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, we're live.
We unfortunately had a distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But
here we go.
As this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation.
Audio good, guys. Levels good.
Conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. So this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So honored to
I dig it.
Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Look at that, 1 million live.
Thank you. Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing, and I have to say,
and memory hole. 3 weeks later,
your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying,
no one gives a shit. 3 weeks later, no one cares.
I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States.
I felt
having another term here
so patriotic in that moment. I'm not voting for the guy.
Incredibly inspiring, but I mean,
that moment got me.
Like for you.
Not pleasant. I have
Not
to be honest.
pleasant.
I said there was
Yeah.
blood. I
mean,
had
being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I
much
didn't know
fun.
I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle and
This close, guys. That
it was
close.
a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. You know, I was telling somebody you have instances like this or like a lot less than this where you feel it's a surreal situation. And I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
And
No way that's the end of it,
hit
by the way,
very
guys.
hard, but hit the ear. And
That's
I
going to
also
happen
heard
again.
people shout bullets, bullets, get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly. And we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter. And so it hit me at an angle
Crazy.
that was far less destructive than any other
By the way,
angle. So
maybe
that
some
was the
background noise,
miracle. That
kids.
was,
Yeah.
Last day of
for
summer
those people that
vacation.
don't believe in God, I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect
Yeah.
angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even
I mean,
more
maybe
now
it's a
than I
sign.
ever.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's a sign, you know.
it's an immigration
Agreed.
sign.
By the way,
You
totally agree with
highlighted
you guys.
a serious issue, and
Yeah,
at that moment,
that's right.
the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well, the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration. And it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good. And after that, it was going to
Yeah.
be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
Yeah.
who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "All right, that's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for
Sure.
somebody to say, to be honest.
It's so sad.
She's great. The
Man.
family is great. And we raised a lot of
Yeah.
money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them equally. And we thought,
Yeah.
my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me. And I said, how many people were killed? Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of people. And there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, how many people have been killed? Because I knew there were other shots being fired.
Sure.
And they said, we don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt. And
It's crazy. By the way, guys,
I have
so
to give the Secret Service.
this is
sniper
obvious for you guys who
call him a
watch. I don't
sharpshooter, but
stream
sniper,
often where I'm
because
streaming
he didn't
other
know
content.
there
Got to
was a
feel out
problem.
what that's like,
He
pace
said
and
he's
whatever. Like, I think I
perfect
mostly
shot,
need to shut up so you can hear
obviously,
because I
and
want to
he
hear
didn't know
too.
there was a problem. And
But
he was able to pick it all out within
expect
5
these to get
seconds.
better.
And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium, and he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot of people, a lot more people could have been
Sure.
badly hurt and killed. So
Yeah,
I have to
absolutely.
take my hat off to him because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23
Everybody,
years,
guys, everybody's
and
watching this.
Yeah.
he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden he has to act. And it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the the smoke and the flame from the gun. Immediately
Dude, everybody,
has very good eyes. He's got very good
everybody's watching
vision,
that right
which I
now.
assume you
Yeah.
have to have in that particular work. But he took
Absolutely.
aim very quickly, and it was, they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range,
Yeah.
one bullet. If that didn't happen, because
Yeah.
the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges
Sure.
up there with him. So
Well,
could have been very.
I mean that's clearly he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the assassin.
Come on, say
the
crypto,
attempted
say Bitcoin.
assassination.
Just say it.
But I mean, there does seem to be, I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people,
Yeah.
because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and
Right.
Trump all over
I
it,
saw
and,
the video.
she's screaming. And that guy's got a gun. You saw it probably. There's a
No, I
guy
saw
up
the
there
videos.
with a gun.
I mean, it's like I'm just. I guess. I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by it, pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of
Any of you guys
had
think
an
that
idea, and then
was
ultimately a man
not
lifted
staged,
himself
but
up to the roof, could barely do it.
allowed to
because, he was
happen?
pulling himself
Any of
up.
you think that, guys?
And
Yeah.
he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun
Andy,
at him.
possibly.
He thought he
right?
was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun, and he fell down. Actually, very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
Okay.
but he fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun, and the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
Andy,
My
you and I
sons,
hear similar
Don
things,
and
right?
Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
Yeah.
sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah. It's not a
No,
tough shot.
it's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
Yeah.
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on, I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You
Let's
had
do the
so
way
many
Trump talks
people.
now.
One of the
Like
miracles was that
people get older
nobody
and start talking
ran.
like that.
I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd
Yeah.
control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums, at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
Yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking
Watch these
place,
odds, by
and
the way, changing
normally
throughout
they'd
the
be
talk.
running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and
Yeah.
and a lot of press too. There was many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it, so sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people
Really
behind me,
interesting
they
so far,
stood up
right?
And they're looking like, I mean, I tell you, you want to have
Yeah.
you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I
You
wanna
don't
meet
hear
some
any
of
other
those
candidates
people,
doing something
because
so
it's
candid like
different
this.
from what you heard.
And it
But-
should happen. This should be
so-
normal.
So I was down, but the Secret Service
Yeah.
guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and
Yeah.
and these guys, came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, would jump. They
Dude,
moved
this should be
so
normal. They
fast,
should let
and
people come up
let me
and
tell you, that took
request to talk,
tremendous
right?
courage. You know, there was
That
a
should be the
lack
new
of
normal. It should be.
coordination.
Tech
There-
allows it
you know,
now. It's safer than
obviously
anything.
everybody understands that somebody.
No
that-
reason this
that
shouldn't be the
building
new
should have been
norm.
Covered. And
Yeah,
Kamala
I
ever do
think
this?
that's like,
Ever.
I mean, looking at the aerial views,
Actually, I think
that
she will.
building would be like the number
I hope
one
so.
spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like the if you were to pick like what is the favorite, what if you so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be number one.
that would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better
No,
location. It's like number
No,
one.
that would have been the spot.
Um,
You know what people think
yeah.
is when the local policeman, who, by the way, you know, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got
Yeah.
his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they
Yeah.
think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, you know, he
Yeah, but
he
as you
got
said,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been could have been a much
Yeah.
bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like there was.
That's the craziest part.
It was.
I mean, again,
a very
that
near
much.
thing.
This
It
by
was a
that much.
miracle. If I hadn't
Um,
turned my head,
Yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would
Well,
not be talking.
Maybe talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. We'd be talking from a
so-
different place.
Again, the way
But,
Trump talks,
it was.
it's a video of him talking
you know, it was
earlier.
a
He
very
doesn't
terrible
speak like
experience.
this all the time.
Butler Hospital.
He gets a
they
little
did such a
mouthy.
great job.
My dad talks like this. The older he gets, the more he
doctors were
talks.
So good. Everybody
like
was
out of
so
the front
good.
of his
It
mouth.
was-
It's interesting.
It was a mistake.
I think it's a medication thing, by the way.
Somebody knew because people were hearing that. You know, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty
Yeah,
well-
yeah.
And
Yeah.
if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, you know, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think over 300. I think I did a lot more than that.
Yeah.
but
I wonder if
they
that's
did
the
a
angle to
lot. And
lean into, or if he
oftentimes
needs to
they'll
get a
say,
little
"Sir, could
more
you wait 10 minutes, please. Sir, could you wait 20 minutes?
direct
There's a
about the
storm
climate,
overhead," or
right? I
lightning or
mean,
something, right?
we moved on too
That
quickly, and it's
happens
we
often.
can't.
And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but
In my opinion.
it didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was.
What comes next, guys? What's next?
Actions in the.
By the way, smash the like, subscribe over on
fire.
Inside
Like,
NFTs.
what I found admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that
Yep.
I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there.
Cannot take that away
And,
from the guy.
yeah,
you don't have to
so-
like
Thank
him. You don't.
very much.
I don't like the guy.
Appreciate it.
I'm not voting for the guy, by the way.
I just wanted to get
I always try to make that clear.
and I
Not
wanted to
voting for this
stand
guy.
up. I want to let people know, you know, I felt I was good when they were.
But the response
on
was
top of it,
amazing.
covering me, actually, very much covering me, and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up, and they wanted, you know, they have everything.
How many
They
live
have-
now, by the way, guys?
They wanted.
Last I saw was a
stretch.
mill.
didn't
I don't want to
stretch.
refresh.
And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else
Yeah.
because it was such a lot of blood, and they were sure that I was hit someplace else.
Yeah.
And
There's
they
something
were-
here, by the way,
saying,
guys. There
"Sir,
is.
You were hitting more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get
There's
up."
something
And
here.
So I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think, and I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them
Yeah.
know that. And
All right,
they
what are we up
went
to?
Wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I
Yeah.
got up because they didn't know was I alive. You really couldn't tell when I stood up.
Shows a mill. I think it's
before the
capped.
hand, before the
It's got to be more.
fist in the air. They didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did.
Oh,
And,
dude, Edge, thank you, man.
When I put the fist up, they were
Appreciate it.
They were just.
Oh, man. I don't think I've ever said that
relieved
phrase,
and
make America
happy
great
and
again.
Thrilled, and the place went crazy.
Hey, man.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was
Abso-fucking-lutely.
a terrible
Well,
thing, but it was.
Dude, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Moving, yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got
Wish
you,
this was video, by the way. Would love to see it.
Saved your life, really. Was the illegal immigration slide? maybe this
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was
that slide. That
All right, let me
slide
drop
is
Henry the
You're right.
link,
No,
just in
illegal
case he can hop in and
immigration
say
saved
what's
my
up.
life. You're right, but it was,
Yeah,
I had to
know,
be at
that's
that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal
You know,
immigration.
the
Dude,
incredible
Edge is
thing,
such a
though,
good
when you
dude.
talk about
Thank you, sir.
the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the
Yeah,
incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
yeah,
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here
yeah.
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately,
By the way, there's
fortunately.
footage on YouTube
But I looked to the
that's
right,
very gory
and the bullet
of
came
immediately
whizzing
at the
by, hitting my
shooting.
ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it
yeah.
would have been a very different story. It's very much. I I say an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
Sure.
honored
There's
by it.
there's
I'm honored by it.
video footage of the
Well,
guy who
what
passed away at it. It's brutal.
what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with the
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the
That's
numbers
funny.
were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're
Attaboy.
going to
Great.
go back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler.
There we go.
And
1.1
I
now.
think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
Funny
my apologies for
bastard.
being so horribly
So,
interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so
attempt.
but no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal
My
immigration
Solana
numbers,
address.
meaning
Huh.
stopping.
Let me try
It
that. Let me
was
do
at the
that.
lowest. You've
That's,
seen the chart. It's
should
become
probably put
quite
that in the
famous,
description
but
somewhere
that was the
or
lowest
bio or
point
something like that. That'd be
ever
cool.
recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where if many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting
Yeah.
literally records, and
Did Trump say
all I
that,
was doing
Edge?
is showing that, and
I missed it.
I use it sometimes,
Sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but but we also need to shut down illegal immigration and especially unvetted illegal
Yes.
immigration because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are
Oh,
actually
Andy, you got to
good,
be in. You
but
got to be in
you
that
can't tell the
Solana
difference unless
ecosystem.
there's
Have to be.
solid vetting of who
Must,
comes
must,
across the border.
must.
Does
I
that-
just started and I started
does that
way too late.
accurately represent your position?
I
say
faded
it
Solana
very
early
simply.
on.
They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Big
Look,
mistake. Won't make that mistake again.
Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's
Yeah.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible.
You ain't wrong. Look at that. Wow.
No tax on tips, and all of a
Should have
sudden
waited
he's
and bet
making
on
a
this,
speech and there will be no tax on tips.
during
I
the
said
show.
that months ago.
First
And by
time
the
betting
way,
on this
they had
platform.
just
Going to
the
learn a lot
opposite.
from watching
You know,
this.
They had not only
Maybe
tax on
betting
tips,
mid-show,
but they
mid-event
hired
is the
88,000
way.
IRS agents.
Down to
And many of them
48%.
were
Wow.
assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this.
Has he got money in his pocket?
They
He's
have a
jingling
policy.
around.
They had a policy that
Sounded
we're
like it.
really going to go after you, and we're really harassing people horribly.
Yep.
And then all
Should
of
have
a
waited.
sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said. which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very
I love it,
hard.
Andy.
These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you know, you hear 12
The border's
million,
wild. It is.
I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country,
Yeah.
many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is
Yeah.
insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia,
Yeah.
they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you know, you look at, it's so sad October 7th because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad
Sure.
when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective
Don't forget, all those are
government.
going to
These are
escalate
defective people.
a lot.
And they're not people that should be
And
running
pretty
it.
soon.
But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5
Really
months
soon, guys.
that they can do something, but they
Yeah.
won't do anything. It's all talk. She's
No.
incompetent and he's incompetent.
Ukraine pushing
And
into
frankly,
Russia.
I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying
We've not
something,
even
'cause he's
started the
not that
Iran
good.
Israel stuff.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a
Correct.
secure border. And
And secure
uh,
elections, too.
you know, yeah, absolutely secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country.
So
and our service-
I hope Musk
our
questions them on the
services
interference
are
stuff,
being
because
overwhelmed in
I
a
don't
lot of
I'm
cities.
I don't believe he lost. Excuse me, I don't believe he won the election last time around. I don't.
I think having
The stuff he
a
quoted and
legal
cited, and
immigration
it's
process that is
there's no substance there, none.
smooth and efficient and done well. And I, speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, and I think I mean, like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, be great contributors to our society and to our economy,
Right.
and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's if somebody's like uh, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target-rich environment. I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in, bad things?
Yeah,
coming
remember
here
Wednesday.
sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And and in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested.
Yeah.
So it's
It's,
insane.
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime?
Yep.
And our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do
Cosmos,
this.
it's a
But
few.
I have to tell you, Elon,
They're
I hate
not.
to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing,
think you're
again,
right,
they're
yeah.
allowing people from their jails.
I'm
And if you were
curious.
running one of
Cosmos,
these
I know
countries
somebody
where they're coming
personally
from, you would have had all
who
of them.
has a relative
As
that
an
was killed in
example,
a
Venezuela,
in
their
a shooting
crime is
here in the
down
States that was
72%.
targeting
They're taking their drug dealers,
Mexicans.
They're taking, frankly,
Because
their
of this kind of
prisoners that are
rhetoric,
being out in
it is a
prisons. They're
problem,
taking,
as
their
is the
criminals,
border.
They're murderers, they're rapists, and they're delivering them into
But
these.
that's
But
what
painting the picture like this
Castro
is
did.
Yeah, well,
is
he did
I don't
on
think
a
it's
much
helpful.
smaller scale.
Yeah.
It was a much smaller
Yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York, where somebody was knifed with a raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters.
Jesus.
And started
Sure.
pulling out the knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for
Yeah.
murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're
Yeah.
going to give you the
Cosmos,
death
I'm
penalty
with
or
you.
kill you.
1000% here.
So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals
What up,
look like
English? Good to
nice
see you,
people.
brother.
And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because, now she's trying to say
Sure.
she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border
English, a
czar
good
the
buddy of
first
mine here
day,
from
and it was
the,
on headlines of every
from the
newspaper.
space.
She's the border czar. And she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
had nothing to do with the problem
Yeah.
is.
This
But she
man,
was
this
the
worries
border
me.
czar, and
The Ukraine shit
people
worries
can't
me.
allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say
1.2.
that,
Lordy, lordy.
she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She
a
could
big
have
ass
shut the
spaces,
border
English.
down
Can you
without him.
imagine?
He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have.
What's
even
your peak,
known what
man?
happened. He
Over a
could shut
K?
the border down. He
Yeah.
wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is,
English
that
draws
she
a-
was
a
border czar.
damn good
But
audience.
If you don't have to call her
Yes.
that, the fact is, you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's
I mean,
horrible.
whether it's by
Ah, fuck.
whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie.
Ah, Bananakin's a
apocalypse
good
at
guy.
times.
Bummer.
And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say,
Make sure that's really his
these people I
account.
saw
Yep.
did not look friendly.
These
So
are
people can look at my video and say,
Yeah.
hey, does these people look friendly? I don't look super friendly. So
These are people that
Um,
Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
Yeah.
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just non-productive. I mean,
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
like
they're
that.
not
Yeah, yeah.
workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country
Yeah.
at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by
Andy,
Kamala
Bananakin's
saying
dad
how
passed
she
away.
is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years,
Yeah, no,
we have 20 million people
I
poured
think is
in. It's
Yeah, dude.
terrible.
Yeah,
I
this
think
stuff I don't like,
frankly,
right?
I think this is a fundamental existential.
This is where the guy's
issue
kind of out of
for the
touch.
United States, and if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't
left
have a country
at that
left.
Oh,
point.
interesting. Let's
Elon,
check.
If they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of
All
South
right.
America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the 4. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is a super important.
Yeah,
point.
English, they'll fit right in, huh?
It's like, basically, when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's
Yeah,
like,
I couldn't
it's
disagree with the guy
almost
more
No one was from
on that.
Mexico. to
No,
be clear.
Mexico less-
It's just
less
it's
than
just the
the
border.
others.
It's just the border with Mexico, but the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is.
Yeah, where's
is
Bitcoin
only,
on here?
about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth, it would only
They left
take a
Bitcoin
few
off.
percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in
We're
the US.
already
So,
overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they
yeah.
try and focus on Trump.
Damn, down to
Okay, then let's focus
42.
on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they dropped them. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
Who tells them
But
this shit?
they're
Like,
coming from
this is
Africa.
weird
They're
stuff.
coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South
Well,
America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible.
How long can this
So,
go?
Elon,
Because
we're
he
gonna
should be
have-
pushing
we're
back
gonna-
here, but not if you're trying to
yeah.
keep it
Finish
to an
this
hour.
up. We're going
But
to have the largest deportation in history of
yikes.
this country, and we
Yep.
have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is
Yuck.
down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. Same with other countries. Some
Sure.
are 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it?
Yeah.
And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, "Oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly," or "I did well in the debate." The first night they said, "Wow." One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days
Madman.
later, they
Holy
didn't talk
cow.
about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and
Agree.
they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the
No.
hard way.
Yeah, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy,
So,
and I'm no
yeah.
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
And we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it. You take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no. I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would. They rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people.
Yeah.
Frankly,
Yeah, don't disagree there.
Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But they put our country in danger with that stuff too. They actually, when they make up stories and you have to
Yep, that's
fight
it.
your way out of it.
That's a
for
huge
long
scandal that
time. But
got
I
swept under the
know
rug,
Putin
like
very well.
so
I got
many
along with him
things.
very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline.
What do you think, English?
XL pipeline.
Smash your
Shuts that
pass, bro.
down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Right?
sense. It's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners, the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of them.
And that puts it puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one
It's
of
a
them,
big
and I
deal.
know them well. I know Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, "Oh, this is terrible." He said, "I'm not."
Fuck, he ain't
saying anything good
gonna
or
say
bad.
Bitcoin,
They're
is
at
he?
the
Look
top
at that,
of their game.
34%.
They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious.
You hear that jingling money?
And they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not.
Man, nothing
to
else
mess around.
hitting so far.
Iran was broke because I
Come on,
told
Elon.
China, if you buy from Iran,
Move it
oil,
along.
it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any
There's
business.
nothing here that
with
could
the United
proc
States.
in
And I
this
meant it.
chat.
And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil.
Civil War,
Other
maybe.
countries likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States.
Maybe.
And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas.
Weird
They
could
had
show
no
up
money
whenever.
For Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. It is zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea.
Damn, look at Eth.
I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they
Those
were.
like
they were
absolutely-
epic everything. He said that
Dude,
he has
the
a
playing
red
with
button
money
on
is
his desk. I
the
said,
best part of this
I
interview
have
so
a
far.
red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him
Yeah.
Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden, I got a call from him, and they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met,
Yeah.
as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were
Yeah.
in no danger. But
Yeah.
President Obama,
It's because they
thought we were going
respond-
to end up in
yeah.
a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's
Yeah,
got
it's
a
not
lot of
true.
nuclear stuff,
Yeah,
too.
Dude, I
exactly.
love the
Plenty of
dispute here. This is
nuclear.
great.
He can do plenty of damage. So
Yes, I mean it's because I mean people like Kim Kim Jong Un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
well,
And
he
and
and I got
if you
he and I
project
had a good
strength,
relationship.
you're good.
Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
Let's
that
bring
was
up
cool.
Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always
Yeah.
say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden,
Still
and Bush
1.2
to a
mil.
certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries,
Access?
very heavy nuclear.
Is he saying access
Which is
of
the
evil?
biggest threat.
Yeah.
The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that
yeah.
have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia.
My boy Winnie at
There was
Pepe
no
Fest.
chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disaster.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people.
Yep.
And,
brutal.
And
it's-
Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story, but if you think about it, Russia's gone. Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. They've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force,
Yeah. So,
and it's
course.
very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight, and we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that, and a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened.
Just so you know,
But
guys,
we had
on
a
Polymarket,
man
you
that-
buy and sell
it made
shares.
it-
You can sell them before
it made
this
it more
actually
prevalent.
settles. So I could
was
cut
so
losses and
bad,
sell
the
my
words that he
yes
was
votes here.
using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face. that he was using. I said,
Stupid
this guy's
face.
going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you,
Yeah,
it can
yeah.
lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a
Yeah.
World War III right now for no reason
No,
whatsoever.
I think you're
Come
right.
on, drop that one.
I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of
I think
nuclear
so,
missiles
Cosmos. The only way they
that
don't
that have targeting parameters
is if
for
they
the
plan
United
another
States
one.
and other
100%.
countries.
So
And one of the things
And,
we're going to do is
it's-
we're going to build
yeah.
an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have
Iron
we're gonna
Dome
have
wouldn't work
protection
here.
because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one.
It doesn't work on the
Some
kind of
other
missiles
places
fired.
have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all
Intercontinental
of that
missiles, it
being
cannot
said,
stop.
To me, that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that
Absolutely,
they can't
sure.
buy groceries because they don't have enough money
Economy.
to buy groceries.
This is where we
The
can get to
inflation has
crypto.
killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about
Stupid,
the
very
border
close
a
to
lot.
weird.
And
Very
we
close.
discuss the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you
Yes.
think Biden could do this?
This forum's
interview?
incredible.
You think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on
No,
you.
they cannot.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the
Well,
economy, Elon.
yeah.
And as much as
Yeah.
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using
Yeah.
all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing
Right.
that's happening. And we'll end that
Well,
quickly.
I think a lot of a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government
This
spends
can,
far more than it brings
lead us
in,
right
that
into
increases
crypto.
the money supply, and if the money supply
Could be coming.
increases faster than the rate of goods and services,
right.
that's inflation. So
Talk about the reserve.
really, we need to have we need to.
That's how you
reduce our
get
government
Bitcoin
spending.
shoehorned in.
And we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly
Right.
every 100 days.
That's right.
It's crazy.
And,
It's fucking
the
nuts.
interest payments on the national debt have now exceed the defense budget.
This is Bitcoin.
It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest.
And it keeps
Yeah,
growing.
I rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military, did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great.
By the way, if
product,
you've
I
not
have
heard
to say.
this
I have to be
podcast
honest
with
with you.
Annie
That doesn't mean
Jacobson,
everybody should have an electric car.
worth hearing,
But these are minor
because she
details,
does
but
explain
your
why
product is incredible. But-
Iron Dome would
but
not
the
work here, and it's because the
gasoline,
type of
Elon,
missiles
is
that would deliver those warheads
the cost of
has
energy.
circled the
Not
globe
only
multiple
gasoline, it's
times.
the cost of
We
heating your house and
can't.
cooling your house. That
I don't doubt
has
that
to
we've
come
got tech
down.
that could, but
It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down.
Interesting,
when
though,
that
but
comes
yeah.
down, and we're going to
Yep.
drill, baby,
Exactly.
drill. You know, they stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, we're gonna this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy
million people listening.
that's not sustainable. Wind
Jesus.
and different things. You're not going to have anything.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big
Bitcoin
fan
creeping
of
up.
the AI, and I have to say
Yeah.
that
It's coming.
AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy
Come
if
on.
our
Come on.
country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're
Sure.
going to need a lot of
Well, I mean-
electricity. You're going to need tremendous
Yeah.
electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government
Yes.
spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible and so the country
so
lives
close.
within its means, just like a
The
person does?
waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it, like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general walks in, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now,
Wow.
now they're highly sophisticated.
That's
They're
insane.
even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy
It's
number.
a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other
Exactly.
items.
Multiply it by
Yeah,
a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and yeah.
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to help
By the way,
out.
congratulations. I
Yeah.
just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations. This is very good.
It's huge, guys.
I mean, it's
Fuck.
great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA.
There's MAGA.
And he took it to an extreme too. He
There you
ran
go.
on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job.
There it is.
It's called
Boom.
Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in and bought a lot of hats.
Just
He
catching
bought
those
a-
live is cool.
But he's doing a big job.
Edge, do you have
He
it?
really cut. And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. You know, they had like
Yes,
2,000%.
exactly.
Did they buy
They
Bitcoin?
had inflation like not normal
Argentina, a
inflation. They had
Bitcoin country?
the real deal. But we're going to
Yeah.
have that pretty soon. We have, I think we
Yeah.
have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I
That
don't
was cool as
believe it.
shit to
I
see
think we have
live.
the worst. They
Yeah.
don't include a lot of the items that should be included. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money
Yeah.
effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all, and what Milei is doing is he's cutting government spending, he's simplifying things, he's having putting in regulations that make
Drop the
sense,
B word.
and we're Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement
That's right.
in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that um, Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Um,
Right.
in the like in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy we can run the country into the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every
Nah,
list
get out of here.
of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Uh, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah.
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the
Yeah.
50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15
Yeah.
of them, or 20 of them will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of
Yeah.
these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of the land or the sun, and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
We may not get it.
Yeah,
But if you think
well,
about it,
yeah.
you'll have some
Yeah,
of
yeah.
these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than
Yeah.
half what it is in Washington. And
Yeah.
these people don't care
Well,
about the
yeah.
students in these, faraway states. And it'd
Well,
be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally
right.
move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state.
Nobody wants to
I could
move.
go
Come
through.
on.
I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But
Yeah.
but some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that
Yeah.
the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little
Yeah, yeah,
monitor. You know, you want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. You know, give us a
yeah.
little English, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right?
No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul
It's
sales.
actually
It's just
amazing.
people moving out. You
Isn't
know.
it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? Uh, I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? You know, the taxes are among the highest
Yeah.
taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job in their crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not
Well,
a good
I think there's.
situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal
Right,
government.
right. Well,
That's
you're
the
gonna
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the
Yeah.
area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very
Yeah,
nasty
yeah.
for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So you know, at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what? Is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have
Why is
people. I
this
can
one
name every
disputed,
one of them.
guys? Did he
I got
say
to know every one of
immigration,
these,
Yeah.
and
illegal
some are very
immigration?
good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that I mean the larger point here, too, you know, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that
Getting there
save
again. Come
money
on.
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation, and if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and
Yeah.
that's a really big
Well, the
deal.
people that got hurt
Um,
worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, you know, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people
Yes.
that
Yep.
saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing
Ooh, that B
4 or
word
5
almost got
times
me.
more than it did a few years
sure.
ago,
That bacon
when you
almost
look
got
at
me.
some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and
He
today,
steered it right back
you
to
know, a
the
lot of
economy.
people
Yes, he
just
did.
don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah,
it's
it's
sticker
I
shock.
think
They
it.
call it
Yeah.
sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation. Like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
That's right.
anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation.
Yeah.
And if
Well, Elon,
those two things, yeah, those are the big deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for everyone we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did
Yeah.
radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in and we had to focus on that and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I
All right,
never
peeking
got
at pump dot
the
fun.
credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit, but we were. If had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia.
Getting close.
And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I
Edge,
had
appreciate
stopped
you
the
coming by,
Russian
man.
pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil
And thank you
gas.
for the
We were
super
gonna-
chat.
we were
Appreciate it,
gonna
brother.
Make a fortune, and then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, you know, it was just not a
rugged?
good period.
Wow.
Interestingly, you know, during his
Look at that.
administration,
Live rug.
many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted
All those
us
wallets
from
emptied. Look at
doing
that.
what I wanted to do.
Jeez.
But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I should probably say something about, like, you know, maybe my views on, you know, climate change and oil and gas, because I mean, I think it's probably different from what most people would assume, because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So
Bacon
you
got
know,
him
I don't
too.
think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry. And I, you know, the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like, we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there for. It's not infinite, and there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as you know, a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is, like, we still have quite a bit of time. But
Interesting slip,
so it's
huh?
not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to, like, you know, stop farmers from farming, or, you know, prevent people from having steaks, or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree.
in
How
my
crazy
opinion.
is that? Where
I mean,
you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is
yeah,
a
that's
little
silly.
crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I just say though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it.
Because they've
Nobody
been
could
part-
do it.
they've been part-
Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first
Sorry about that,
thing
guys.
that Biden did was unimprove it, to get rid of it. He ended
Yeah.
it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something
my
will
estimate,
come around that will be
yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. But I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean,
Yikes.
I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3
Right.
to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Without people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline
Sure.
cars, and it's okay. It's like, it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, the sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor, so, but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards, a better future, and we can do so without demonizing
Right.
people.
I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because, you have some places that go up, and so they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But, I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars. And it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good,
Yeah,
at least in certain areas of the country where you have or the world,
sure.
Much
where
better.
you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global
Fuck, we
warming
might got,
or they talk about
might not
climate
get it.
change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure.
that's
Nuclear
an
warming,
immediate
okay.
problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even
Yeah,
surpassing. But to me, the biggest
yeah,
problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the
You better believe
nuclear
it,
power.
man.
The
Yeah,
power
crypto mutt. Hell yeah.
of nuclear is so great. And when I talk
yeah.
about
Nuclear power is underrated. It's
I'll
awesome.
prevent World War
Yeah.
III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is
Yeah.
a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is
Absolutely.
underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining
Right.
operation, and there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
Maybe they'll have
sort
to
of
change the
have
name.
it,
The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like
yeah, it's a rough
when
name.
you see what happened in
Good bad
right.
branding. The
We'll have to
branding's rough.
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. No, it has it has a branding problem. When you see what happened,
It does have a branding
Why
problem.
would MAGA
when
be in
you see
review?
what
Did he
happened
say?
in Japan,
No, he said it.
where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem,
hope.
where they,
Brother, I hope.
there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're
Well,
right
no,
about it. It's
it's
amazing.
it's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California,
Come
are we worried
on.
about like a nuclear
We don't care
attack
about
coming
this.
from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
Yeah, but you haven't
because the
been
danger
feeling
is
so
just
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
no, but I mean,
I'm
it's just
only kidding.
it's
I'm
fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
right.
it's
Well, that's
really
great.
not
That's
something
great.
that.
That's
Um,
great.
so it's not as scary as people think, basically. But
Yeah.
let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on?
Come on.
Like lawfare. I think
Well,
we need to be concerned about.
what they've done to
Um,
this country.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled
yeah,
Fani, Fani, and it's
yeah.
all a big hoax, and it's all run from there, like in Manhattan. The one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before,
Sure.
and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's
Yeah.
a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never
Yeah.
happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens
Yeah.
is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does
Yeah.
he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing that
Right.
for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't
Yeah.
lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly not, I mean, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't
That's
have a
just obviously
president,
the
and
case.
she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our
Yeah.
country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than
Well,
Trump.
yeah.
I want a wall. I
I
want,
think that's,
she
yeah.
wants to release all the
Yeah.
prisoners that are in detention. And some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
just saw
today.
that.
She
Yeah.
doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. In your business, everything you do is obsolete, almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200
Yeah.
miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks.
Man,
and
not
they
looking
sold
good,
it
huh?
for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply
No,
not
and
true.
everybody
Yeah,
knows it's
simply
not
not
true.
true.
It's a disgrace that she
Yeah.
can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered
Yeah.
more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic. And if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all
Yeah.
of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. Like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so
Kind of agree.
anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. That was a
Andy
hard
has
thing
been
to
since
do.
the start. I
You
was
just
pointing that
can't-
out. There's definitely something going on there.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was
Andy, I've
there,
heard it since
and
the very,
Kamala
very
stood him
start.
up. What does that say?
I think it's highly
That's
disrespectful.
Oh, it's
And
gotten
I
worse.
say,
Yeah, you're
if
right.
you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. Their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's
Yeah,
appropriate, swamped. But they
yeah.
swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles,
Sure.
they can't defend themselves. They just obliterate the whole
Yeah.
place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
she'll be worse than him because she's a believer
Yeah, no,
in
I
being
think you're right.
radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her
So I
her
think
running mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, now
Holy
that's
shit, he
all I
said
have
it.
to hear. Tampons in
That's
boys'
weird.
bathrooms, and that means
Wow.
she believes
Yeah,
in that too. I mean,
yeah, that's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel,
Unfucking believable.
radical left person.
X is
But
going to
she
blow
is
up with that one.
far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as the president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think
No, do you want to know what
a
word won?
massive. I think we're in massive
Tampon.
trouble, frankly,
said
with the
tampon.
Kamala administration, and
Trump.
that's my honest opinion. And
I'll tell you after.
and I
They
think
can't. They knew I bet on the
I
Bitcoin
think
one. They
really
didn't know
it's
that one.
essential
They didn't know tampon.
you win for the good of the country for this election, and I mean that's understating my opinion. Now, you may have seen
Unreal.
this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission saying to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to
Unfucking
force
real.
censorship even on
You gonna
Americans
say that, not Bitcoin?
from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. Wouldn't you say as us? And they're in,
Yeah.
and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that.
These markets are
billion.
great. I mean,
And we're in
it makes it
for
so much more entertaining, doesn't it?
about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize?
I didn't take that bet, brother.
Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they
Yeah.
should, and I did it with NATO. there were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went
yeah,
in and I said, you
yeah.
got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in, and
Yeah, I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
and then we get
Even though,
taken
like,
advantage of on trade. So think
yeah,
about it.
well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like, then okay, well, why is the United States paying
Could get
disproportionately more
censorship here.
to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well,
Um,
when you talk about
so
cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky, he was very honorable to me because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are
yeah, yeah,
lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
yeah,
Now, they've taken advantage
yeah,
of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to uh, inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not
No.
smart. She's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on
Facts.
the first
Yep.
half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't have this.
that's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and
Yes, you can
I'm
actually
able
have a
to get it out
conversation.
because I get
I think
treated
this is a
unfairly
this
by
is a
the
really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you,
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
and you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's true.
Um, so this is like talking to an NPC.
No.
So it's just
Well,
impossible.
but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong Un. We had dinner, we had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let me
sure.
tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it, but I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it if
Yeah,
it's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now,
yeah.
Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together? It is, the whole
Yeah.
concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I
It
saw a
would.
picture of her
Yeah, yeah,
on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually,
yeah,
she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She looked, she looked,
yeah.
didn't look,
Yeah.
she didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the
It's
future is
true.
going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than
This could
we've done in
come.
the past, reach
Right.
new heights that make you proud to be an American. and excited about the future.
They want the
I
American
think
dream
this,
back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. You know, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent, and when I debated him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was.
yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We
Right.
could build high speed
Yep.
connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. Um, it's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
That's right.
We already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you
Like,
did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
yeah,
You
and
don't even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right areas.
no, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high speed transport between
what do you guys think?
cities.
Is any of these
And
going to
that
hit?
would be something that Americans
Crypto,
can say, "Wow, okay,
censorship,
we've got something that's
trans,
cooler than
Mars,
anyone else in the
Yeah.
world."
Civil War,
That's
Tesla,
the
weird,
kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
Bitcoin.
And
American.
much
Highest
safer
odds on
than
Bitcoin
surface
still.
trains, where there is a danger there. With people, with crazy
Yeah,
people. It's much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating, and I've seen the systems and how
Please
they
don't
work,
talk
and
about
the bullet
trains.
trains they
Jesus.
call them, I guess. And they
yeah,
they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And
yeah.
it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that um that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes
You're right.
illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of like I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for
Yeah.
improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's
Yeah.
lives. And
I worked very hard
and
on that.
you know
We got that
yeah,
down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I
yeah.
got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and you end up in the same with the approval, but it's just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take
Yeah,
months, that improves people's lives. I
yeah,
think I just wanted to sort of hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year,
yep.
and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just ossify as a society. Uh, we can't make any
Yeah.
progress, and that's it's a really big
Well,
deal.
Elon, just
So
getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. And but people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved
Yeah.
where you can,
Yeah.
you basically, you look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't
Oh,
want
these
it, and
fucking
the
morons.
pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it.
Yeah,
I
bored
got
of this.
everybody
Come
into a
listen to
room,
Adam
and
Schiff.
we
Get
came
the
up with
fuck
an
out of
agreement
here.
that you won't get sued. And
Something
also,
fresh,
they didn't want
Adam
it on their
Schiff.
record if somebody's terminally ill and
Fuck
they die
outta
after
here.
taking a drug. They didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list if somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you know, we got it
Yeah.
done. We have saved right to try. They've been trying to get this done for 58
Yeah.
years. And it sounds simple, but it wasn't because of, I mean, the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done.
Sure.
Somebody you sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done. And we're saving tens of thousands of lives, right to try. Hopefully you never need it. But if you
Yeah.
do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People,
Right.
if they had money, they go to Asia,
Yeah,
they
sure.
go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did
Um,
something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years and they just couldn't get it done. And I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe. And it's a drug that, generally speaking, would
Yeah.
work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I think so long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just,
So
in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people
Come
listening.
on.
I hope you don't get
Yeah.
nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is
60
that number?
million.
It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is it?
well,
Wow.
I think in
Wow,
terms of people
that's bigger than you said. You said 25 and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of
Wow.
time. Hey, I congratulate you. Do I get
I believe
paid
it.
for this or not?
well, I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to
Right.
weeks, it's
Dude,
going to be 100.
never
What
that
they
I've
say.
ever
Yeah,
ever
that's
heard.
good. Well, look, it's an
Yeah.
honor. I just asked this, are you better off
Fuck.
now or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the
Yeah.
colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Right.
all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant
yeah.
crime. Maybe I'll call it
Well,
Kamala migrant crime. But
I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, do have any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate
Crazy.
incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
they
that
always get away.
nothing's going to, and they don't even bother reporting it because they know that they're not going to, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let, violent criminals out in New York.
The
with-
only
with
one that
zero
gets
bail.
prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are being getting off scot free, and meanwhile the New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like what's this and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. The legal system is supposed to be protecting the public
right.
from violent criminals, And it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, some, legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one, I mean, this is a very bad precedent, what they're doing in terms of, going after their political opponent. And that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent. And then you get a judge who's, a strong Democrat. And I'm being nice when I say that, in many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote. And, you'll have a jury pool
Yeah.
with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could
Sure.
also be the other way, though,
Of course.
because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats.
Exactly.
And you get into a
Yep.
Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is
Yep,
losing. New
absolutely.
York City and state
Would be an interesting
lose a
buy
lot of
here at
business over what they
8
did to me,
cents.
because these people say we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system
$100
of justice.
gets you
and it's
almost
costing New York State
800
a
in profit.
tremendous amount of money. People are leaving.
It's a
and
chance at the
companies
end
are
he ends
leaving,
it
and
with
they
a
won't come back. So all
little
of that
string
stuff
of
is
words,
important,
little
but
string of what's
the
coming.
economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of
Yeah, I think
inflation.
there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
And I just
I
want
thi-
to
I
I want to
think,
congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
it's kind of you to say. Thank
Well,
you.
Come
tunnels.
on.
We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty.
Come
I'll
on,
say.
crypto.
So
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I
Well,
congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And well, I mean, I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we've suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot
I
of
think that's a
things.
very real
Yeah,
risk.
it's a big risk.
That's a very real risk.
Yep.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before. And if you look at my record, I've actually been, I'm not like, sometimes they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd, because I'm like making electric vehicles and, solar and batteries, helping with the environment. And I actually, I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president. And, so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I call myself, historically a moderate Democrat. But now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country. And, I think a lot of people thought, the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not. And obviously, we're just going to see an even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not we're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture, and I think this is a case of the America is going to at a fork in the road, and
It's true.
and I think it will take if the path to, like, you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, but I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before. And I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left. And so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you. And You know, I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's it's
Yeah.
even more of an
Well,
honor to
yeah.
have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But you know, when you think of her, San Francisco, 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America, and now it's not, it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California, and she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope the elections are going to be run honestly, and we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things that, and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, you know, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at
Yeah.
us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases, and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah. I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think
Interesting way to say it.
these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending.
Come on, crypto.
We want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system. Just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like. And how are those even right wing positions? I think those are that's just common sense, and that's. I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand, you know, the whole, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you their crime rates all
definitely
over
not
the world
okay.
are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is, if something happens with this
The money
election, which
jingle,
would be
man.
a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela, because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go, you and I will go, and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela, because that's what's happening. Their crime rate's coming down and our crime rate's going through the roof. And it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet, because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically
By the way, they should do this
correct
weekly.
law enforcement.
They should do this
or
every
lack
week.
of law enforcement. And our police, I
Hey,
have to just end
he
with
gets
this.
a
We
bigger
have
audience
great
than any of his live events. Why
police. We
wouldn't
have
they?
great law enforcement, but they're not
Once a
allowed
week.
to do their job. They
And
have
so
to be
should
able to
Kamala.
do their
Yeah.
job without being destroyed.
Well,
I mean, man, look at the numbers of people
absolutely,
tuning
and
in
it's
and
obviously
picture across channels
demoralizing
like
for a
this,
police officer
like the
risking
big
their
channels
life,
out there. Crazy.
to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes, and then you arrest the violent criminal, and then the DA
Thing is, doing that
doesn't
closer to the
prosecute
election,
and just let the guy out.
big
Well,
chance
then,
you
like,
hit a
why-
home run there, and
why
you
should
gotta
police
have a
officer
home
risk
run
their life
a week or two
uh,
before the election. Have
to
to.
arrest a
Attention
violent
spans
felon?
Well,
way
even
too
worse,
short now.
Elon,
Nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it and they prosecute the police officer, and they take away his pension, they take away his
Yeah.
job, he loses his family, he loses his house.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times
Yep.
Square in New York, and and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how. I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. You know, we see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but
It's wild
something
seeing
they're
that
very
live.
proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand up fighting a police officer. There were two of them, and you
Yeah.
had about six
Yeah,
of
yeah.
these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot.
Yes.
They would be shot instantly. And, you know, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country,
Yeah.
if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad,
Yeah.
it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way,
yeah.
because we don't do anything about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is
Well, we're going to
unacceptable.
change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. You know, when I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries, so you couldn't land the plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept
Yeah,
it. And you know what happened? They all called me,
yeah,
every
yeah.
one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back. We took in so many, the MS-13 is probably
Yeah.
the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama.
Yeah.
They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have, because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So if it's you can't have violent repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of
Still
consider
hope,
myself
guys.
liberal in some ways. I mean, it's
Still
just
hope.
that you want to have empathy for
Right.
people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for
That's right.
criminals.
And we have to give our police officers the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys. And they're smart people, and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So,
It's wild.
I
This was
hope
the
everybody's
opportunity.
going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight.
Yeah.
And I
Here.
didn't need this. I'm like you. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need
On-
to
on
go through
X,
court systems
Crypto
and go
lives here.
through
You
all the
have
other
to.
stuff and run at the
Sure.
same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to
It's
stop
terrible.
crime.
Like the
And
facts speak for themselves. The
it's so
facts
incredible.
speak for themselves. Like it's gotten to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of
That's
cities
right.
because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and
Right.
so we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about. And that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry because they're keeping civilization going right now. And but I do think we want to move at a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think and so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country.
Could be here.
We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations.
This is
And we
Bitcoin.
want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're
it's
the
past.
American dream in the truest sense. But you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out and do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all where they have no money, where they literally have no money, and then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're going to do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. And I really appreciate this. To me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people, a great inspiration. And I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up. And I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election. And I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot. But I hope
Unreal. How do we not get crypto?
I know
How do we
you got
not
a
get
lot of them.
Bitcoin?
So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Fuck. We didn't get it. That's unreal, guy. I cannot believe we didn't get Bitcoin and we didn't get crypto. We also did not get censorship, trans, Mars, Civil War, Tesla. Weird. There you have it. It's a wrap. We did get MAGA, tampon, illegal immigrant. There you go. You bet on those GGs. You won. I think Edge maybe hit some of those. It's really, really odd. I mean, it's really because he was touching on that stuff, talking about jobs in America, talking about the economy. I'm surprised that didn't come up somehow, some way. Towards the end, it made sense because you don't want to keep the crypto's a whole conversation. I'm sure you didn't want to get into another 20 minutes. But earlier on, and man, I mean, think about it. They hit probably 5 or 6, good meaty topics. There's a lot to talk about. That's why these things have to happen more. This shouldn't be a one and done. I hope it's not. We got tampon. We didn't get crypto. Fucking wild. Who'd have thought? So, guys, we're going to do this again on Wednesday. Crypto for Kamala. Kamala's not going to be there, right? But it's going to be Mark Cuban. Schiff. Adam fucking Schiff. Who cares? But we'll do it again there. Maybe we start hearing from them what some of Kamala's stances and policies are on crypto. So we'll run it back. Yeah, kind of shocked here. Kind of. Whatever. I'll take that L. Hey, it was fun at least. Good parts of it were fun. What was that? Almost 3 hours. Holy shit. Yeah, good long stream. Always, guys, man, always fun hanging with you. It really is. Tomorrow morning, of course, be live. Let me pull it up. If you're new to the channel, 7 days a week we do streaming here, crypto NFT news. 8:15 a.m. Eastern time. Again, here on Inside NFTs, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. 10, 15-minute updates every morning. On the weekend, live streams. Also live over on Slam X. Have a daily show at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then an afternoon show with Joe, formerly of VFriends, Henry the Great from CyberKongs. That's at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's, again, on Slam X. It's Slam X Official on YouTube. It's Slam XIO over on X. Man, you guys are champs. You're here the whole damn time, so appreciate the hell out of you guys. But yeah, we'll have more fun. Again, Wednesday I'll see you there, but tomorrow morning see you with a news update. Guys, have a great freaking evening. We'll see you.